Hey, what's up guys? Node Investor here. This is a follow-up to a video I just posted. I initially wanted to do one longer video, but I wanted to keep that first one a little shorter and focus a little bit more on Dash and Litecoin. So I'm going to cover a couple others that I really wanted to talk about. So in this video, I'll be looking at AntShares, Stratis, NEM, Pivx, and Ripple. So you guys know I am liking AntShares right now, and so AntShares had the big run up with the pullback, and then it bottomed and had a very nice strong rally. Has since been consolidating some of that rally. The big volume still is to the buy side, so there's definitely buyers accumulating right here. So watch it really close right here, because I'm thinking this consolidation is nearing the lows and has bottomed. Now we're just kind of going sideways here, but I'm thinking AntShares is going to begin moving higher again soon. So let's look at the daily chart. Again, a shorter chart, shorter view, but you can see this 10-day moving average right at it right now. On the downside, it could potentially have a short break to this next moving average and then pop right back up. But you know, the volume on this decline is on this consolidation has been declining. That's a positive sign. So AntShares is looking good. I'm liking AntShares. You guys know I'm in it, and so one of my top altcoins right now. A couple of others that you guys have been asking me about. So let's look at Stratis. So what's going on with Stratis? You know, I had the big move up and has been on this decline so far. There's a couple of things I'm looking at on Stratis here. So you can see the red line at the top is the declining trend line that we've kind of been in since early June. So for the whole month of June, we've just been consolidating this move. Now this blue line below is where I'm thinking Stratis really needs to hold. Otherwise, if this thing breaks, you're going to see a sharp leg down. I like Stratis. It's a strong project. I really like the things they're doing. So you can see we had this other consolidation back here. If it breaks, I mean, there's really not a lot of support until, you know, down in these lower 140,000 or lower Satoshi levels. I don't think we'll see that. Who knows? I mean, anything, like I said, these things are so volatile, you just don't know. But I'm thinking this move is going to resolve itself here really soon as well. And so it's hit this low a couple of times. It's so far acting as a very solid support level, so I'd be watching out for Stratis here to begin moving higher potentially, but I wouldn't let it go much below this level right now. That's really solid support, and so we're kind of been wedging down. I'm thinking we're going to see a couple of more days of this and then start heading back up. So look out for Stratis. Let's see how that correlates on the dollar price. Right now it's just under $6, and that's really that $5.50, $6 has kind of been an area where it's touched a couple of times. So let me zoom in a little bit here to see the dollar price chart. So you can see we're basically right at it here. So it's kind of, it dipped down here a couple of times, you know, mid fives, and here again, and we're really just right there right now. So Stratis looking good. Confirmation again is going to be volume, and you're going to want to see this thing pop. You know, I think first level is if we can clear that 650, 670 area, that's going to be positive. If we can get back into the sevens, dollar wise, very positive for Stratis. So let me go back to the Stratis chart. So one that's on my radar right now, I'm definitely looking at this as a potential move up. It could break. Now you guys kind of know a little bit about my strategy. I prefer to buy on strength. I prefer to buy breakouts. So kind of like what we saw in Dash today, right? These nice consolidations and that pop out, those typically tend to mean higher highs. And at this point, we're in new highs, so it's just going to continue to go higher, right? Ethereum, when it was breaking out earlier this year, the same thing, the nice pattern there that I was pointing out, that's buying into strength. LITECOIN here recently, you know, that's a buy into strength there when you're seeing the new highs. And so this move on Stratis is not that type, right? You're kind of buying into the bottom. Now you're buying off of good support here if you think this is going to move higher, if you like the project. So, but the only reason it's a little bit more challenging is on the way up, you have a lot of resistance. So if people thought this was the bottom and a lot of people bought here, well, when Stratis starts to get to that price point, you're going to see a little bit of selling, maybe some recovering of their money there at that point. And then you go to the next level and you might see some more selling. So, it doesn't, it has to climb a couple of more hurdles is all I'm saying. So, which is why I prefer to buy strength. I prefer to buy the breakouts, the move to new highs, and those are typically much stronger. Let's look at one more that I think is bottoming here that may be another one to keep an eye on, and that's NEM. NEM has been on a long grind down just like Stratis. So you can see there was a couple of, I think I was looking at the daily chart here, which is what those lines represent. Let me go to the daily chart. So again, NEM was hitting this low several times, has been on this long trend down for the better part since May, and looks like we're now breaking out of that little downtrend. It's bouncing right here, coming down a little bit today, but these lows offer you some good downside risk reward ratio. So you don't want to see these lows getting taken out. And notice that blue line just correlates with all this support that was back here with this big drop down here, and now we're right there and bouncing higher off of it. So NEM potentially may have bottomed here, and the NEM project and other things, they're still working on things there, and they're developing, and things are moving in the right direction. One thing I saw on NEM recently that I really liked is they're lowering their transaction fees. They want to be a peer-to-peer network and some of that. And when I first started testing out the NEM network several months back, I noticed the transaction fee was 1 NEM, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if NEM really starts to increase in value and that equates to $1, I mean, that's a lot, right? If you have to buy a cup of coffee and you have to pay a $1 transaction fee, that's going to be crazy. But they've recently dropped that drastically. I think they dropped it by like 95%. So the fees are now 0.05 NEM, I believe. So a lot of good stuff coming out again. They've made some announcements. So I'm thinking that correlates with some of this bottoming action we're seeing right now. So I'd be watching NEM. If you like NEM, if you've been holding NEM and rode that all the way down, at this point, I'd be holding on to it. It wouldn't really jump off at this point. If you like NEM, or if you've been interested in looking to get into it, again, this might be a good place to take a look. But the same thing as I just said with Stratis, it's going to have some challenges going up along the way until we start to clear these old highs that it put in back in late May. So NEM's looking good. Couple more here. The only other thing, I know a lot of you are asking me about Ripple. Let's take a look at that one. That one's just kind of been sitting tight, to be honest. I mean, the daily chart on Ripple, actually, let's go here. So again, here's the daily chart of Ripple. It's just kind of been on this decline since 40 cents. If we look at the 4-hour chart and zoom in a little bit here, again, finding some good lows here recently, but really nothing actionable on Ripple yet. It's just going to require a little bit more patience, I think, with Ripple, and it's just kind of going sideways here. Nothing bad, but it's not really rallying or anything. So just, I'm watching it, keeping an eye on this one, but there's really nothing to do yet. I mean, it's held support here a couple of times. That's a good sign. If you could get above 30, I think on Ripple, we're going to be moving higher again. But, it's tried a couple times. It's just not ready yet. And lastly, let's take a look at PIVX, just because I was talking about that one here recently. PIVX. So PIVX had this little consolidation here. This is the PIVX Bitcoin chart, so you can see where we were looking at, and that was really the little breakout. This correlated with basically $2. That had been the point of resistance recently, and PIVX was pretty volatile. It was up to $2, then went down and hit a low of 80 cents, I believe, 85 cents, and back up to $1.60 and bouncing around. But one thing I noticed about PIVX is during this last sell-off over the last couple of weeks, it was pretty resilient. It was just kind of holding tight, sitting there. So that's always something I watch out for. And sure enough, over the last couple days, just moving higher now. I think Pivx is 250, 270 or something. What did we say it was earlier? You guys would think I would have all these prices memorized, but I don't. So Pivx 261 on CoinMarketCap. So moving up nicely on Pivx.